hours well spent. I will say this, I wrote that piece in 2009 after being, I just been released from the San Francisco County after 5 prison convictions. I had an open case. I was caught again with the controlled substance, cocaine to be exact, and I was on my way. It's what they call a wobbler. So I could either went to prison or they could adjudicate it here locally in the county jail. I fought that case for 3 years. This play was part of my recovery and rebuilding of my life. So 90 days after getting released, I wrote my life story into a play. And it gave me the notion that I had never thought of. Because all of my life during incarceration, people wrote my story. Probation officers, law enforcement, parole officers, parole agents, they wrote a story, right? A profile. But it never had occurred to me that I could become the author of my own story. So in writing this play, something clicked on that stage and said, if you can act this out and write your success into a piece, you can rewrite the script in your mind. And if you can act it out on stage, you can perform it in life. So today, I stand before you, a native of San Francisco, 5-time prison convict, Dr. Daniels. I've got my doctorate in education. I started at 7 years. I went up to USF. After performing this play, I decided in my mind that there was going to be something different at the end of the tunnel for me. I did not do it alone. This is not one of those pull yourself up by your own bootstrap stories. It doesn't work like that, not for me and not in my community. I had a community of support, a grandmother who was 98 that took the place of my parents because they were under their addiction. So from day one from the hospital, she brought me home. My aunt was raised like my siblings. She's 9 years older than me, but we grew up. She used to spank me. I got in trouble. I was like her younger brother. And so that's the extended family. So the extended family helped me. From that, there were people who were in law enforcement, counselors who were unconditional, I call them unconditional advocates with positive regard. No matter what I'd done, they surrogated the dream. You will do something great. My counselor, who had his master's at the time, said, you will go further than me. I could not believe him. I couldn't see it. I was full in my addiction. I've been shot twice. I carried pistols. I ran gangs. I was not the guy you wanted to run into. If you did, you approached me with caution, and you used all the precautionary measures, and I wouldn't blame you for it. So now what I'm saying is, what turns a 5-time felon into a doctor? What happens in between there? There were people in law enforcement who had to trust me. Lenny Broberg was the head of gang task force at the time. And me and him, we never had a problem, but he wasn't the kind of guy that I want to hang out with while I was doing what I was doing. We had different jobs, different purposes. However, once I changed my perspective, Lenny became an ally. When I went to go get my writ of rehabilitation on my way to my pardon, after walking that case out, doing 3 years clean, never giving a dirty test, getting off of the ankle monitor, off of probation, learning how to walk a straight line and be accountable, Lenny said, you know what, if you're having any setbacks, if they think that you're still hanging out, I will come to court and he did. He came and testified. Because when I went to, see, it's easy to get in trouble, but it's hard to get out. So when I went to the DA and said, man, I need some paperwork supporting that I'm doing something different, they were like, hold on, we got to do an investigation. So that investigation went on for a number of months, 4 or 5 months later. He said, let me go up there and talk to some people. So we together celebrated that. Lenny and I, the department, the sheriff's department, through the internship program, community-based programs, brothers like here, like Chico, who accepted me back, put his arms around me. My community trusted me again, my auntie, my family. So there's a whole Verizon network of folks that turns a drug dealer, ex-offender, somebody who's violent in the community, into somebody who's a healer. Now I worked, for the last 10 years, I did my dissertation on restoration around gang violence. Because now that I got something that's valuable, it's only valuable if I pass it on. So there are brothers who are from Visitation Valley who are no longer involved in gangs, because if they follow somebody to the streets, guess what, if you got something healthy for them, or if you got another idea, and if you have influence with them, they'll follow you too. It may take a little bit of time, but yes, it is true, and yes, it can happen. So this is what I did my study about, and this is the work that I'm doing. And so now I'm going to have an opportunity to work with the Mayor's Gang Task Force. I haven't told my auntie about this in San Jose, right? right? So I'll be out there doing some supervising and managing and organizing. Sometimes you gotta leave home. To see, I'm too close to people out here. So sometimes, they don't really get it. A prophet ain't never respected in his own home. So sometimes you gotta leave the porch a little bit, go outside, and let people see what you can do who don't have that history of it. Does that make sense? I appreciate your time. I've seen you guys sit today. I appreciate what you're going to do. I believe that you are here for the right reason. I believe in your mission. I pray and think positive that while you're on the streets, that you will be protected. Each day you will come home safe. I pray that you will go out with the valuable something that is in you. I refer to it as love, and that you will lead with love.